Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics / Non-Classic. This is episode number 808 and Doubleshot number 702. Okay, like I said last episode, one Marvel trade, one DC trade. First up is a Spider-Man trade, and this one's really thin. Not thick, thin. This is Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, Volume 3, Amazing Fantasy. Yeah, this book collects issues 301, 303 of Spectacular Spider-Man, and the annual, which I think this is the. Trying to think, I think this is the. I would probably say this is probably the 15th annual. Not 15th annual. More like the 19th annual, because the original series, first volume, published 14 annuals. And of course, you have annuals 95, 98, so roughly about 19 annuals. The second volume never published an annual. Nope, never did. Oh yeah, I should point out that a lot of these issues are actually tributes to classic Steve Ditko covers. This one here, this is a classic tribute to a classic Steve Ditko cover. That's the thing I love about these issues, is the fact we actually have classic tributes. Oh, here's one right here from, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man number 20. Yeah, I spoke to some about this. This is actually a nightmare sequence. Yep. But yeah, the story for these issues is that this. Okay, the writing here is done by Chip Zdarsky. Excuse me, but the artwork done by, well, the issues themselves are done by Joe Quinnis. The artwork annual. The annual itself has a couple stories. The first story is done by Chip Zdarsky, Paper Trail. The artwork is done by Mike Aldred. Of course, the coloring is done by his wife, Laura Aldred. The writing for the second story is done by Mike Durker, and artwork is done by Chris Bachalo. The main story is that this. Spider-Man, his sister Tessa, and J. Jonah Jameson have time travel back in time about, well, it looks like about 10, 12 years-ish. Pretty much like not long after Spider-Man started his career. Love the references they do to classic Spider-Man. This is roughly like not long after he fought Mysterio for the first time. Kind of similar to what Beast did back in All New X number 1, where he time traveled back in time to the X-Men, to Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 number 1. Yep. Though at least not dressed in their 60s attire like they did back then. Yeah, they have, apparently in the past, when Spider-Man started his early career, apparently Jameson had a computer. Even though if you read the original issues, there was no computers at that point. There was some, except from what I've heard from my dad, who actually worked with computers. They were humongous. They never were desktops like they were nowadays. And of course, the storyline leads into the following storyline involving the alternate future, which they draw back to. And they also be able to serve villains. Yes, and in case you're wondering, they do encounter the Green Goblin here. And this is basically Spider-Man masking. This is probably, now, from what I can tell, this is the second time he's officially encountered the Green Goblin. At this point, Peter didn't know it was the Green Goblin, not until Amazing Spider-Man 38, which was Steve Ditko's final issue in the series. I have heard that's one of the reasons why he left, along with having open disagreements with Stan Lee and various other things. There's never been an officially confirmed reason why, but there's many theories. Green Goblin has been one of them. The annual itself kind of takes place in present day. The first story takes place like not long after the events of Amazing Spider-Man 800, which I haven't reviewed the trade for that yet. I'll hopefully get trade soon. Hopefully Larry does. And it's just basically dealing with mostly the aftermath of that. Yeah, and of course meeting up with the editor, and we see the editor of a newspaper that actually was being published in. That was it was a competitor of the Daily Bugle. If you ever read any issues of either Spectacular Spider-Man or Web of Spider-Man, this particular newspaper was a rival of theirs for years, and this was a Daily Globe. Yes, Daily Globe. Yeah, Peter actually published some pictures there. He sold some pictures to them. Yeah, and the artwork in here is done by Chris Bachalo. Not Chris Bachalo, Mike Aldred. Yeah, and they have sort of the Jonas Slayer. Also, I forgot to point out though, Jameson does meet his younger self, though it doesn't look that much different. He says you'll meet a wonderful woman in the near future, and you'll fall over instantly and evolve Spider Slayers. Yeah, it's a really good, really good. The first story for this annual was really good, and Jameson decides to hire the former editor of the Daily Globe as his producer. Not a bad idea because Jameson works for a radio station now. The second story is just, well, Spider-Man basically just a day in Spider-Man's life. He's delivering flowers to his uncle's grave, runs into an old lady who's trying to talk to her grandchildren. Apparently, and of course he fixes it. And he says, yeah, not the right grandchildren. I'm like, really? Yeah, this particular scene always, this has been confusing me. Like, maybe you call my grandchildren. It's like, yeah, apparently it's not the right grandchildren. Yeah, it's really, really weird of how it is. Yeah, this particular scene, yeah, just some random, like, yeah, saving people, saving a baby. Yeah, that's simply put what this is. It's the name itself, For All Seasons, comes from a Superman story. Yeah, Spider-Man did not have a series called, not that I can think of Spider-Man For All Seasons. There was a Superman For All Seasons done by Jeff Loeb and Tim. I've never read it. I've heard it's really good, but I personally read it. But these issues are really, really good. I love them. And it's something to like how thin this trade is. It's really thin. You'd be like, wow, really? That's it? Just the 3 issues in an annual? Wow, that's a really short trade. But I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. Next up is, now this trade, normally this trade I would buy it, but I haven't had a chance to go to Barnes & Noble lately, so I got it from the library. Justice League America Volume 4, Surgical Strike. Yeah, Prometheus is actually in these issues. Collecting Justice League America Volume 5 issues 18 to 21 and the annual. Yeah, the first issue in here is actually the annual, which is actually drawn by Kelly Jones, a Batman artist drawing a Justice League annual, which is really weird. Everything is written by Steve Orlando. The other artists in here are, aside from Kelly Jones, Hugh Peretus and Stephen Byrne. Yep. I'm glad the fact they give credit to Grant Morrison. I'm kind of like, okay, they give Grant Morrison, Vixen gets a credit, Lobo gets a credit, but not the Ray, not Black Canary, just 3 people. Okay. The annual is simply put because Black Canary did not go to the whole microverse mission, which actually that was the storyline that was hit back in the Rebirth special. Yeah. So they go off to space to save a bunch of dolphins. Yeah, it's basically a Save Dolphins story, and this is the reason why Lobo joined Justice League. Yeah, this was a favor that Batman helped him do, and he dragged along Black Canary. And he called her a pretty bird. He's like, you can't call me that. Probably because only Green Arrow can call her pretty bird. It's a really good story. As for the whole thing, Prometheus, this is an interesting little story, and I appreciate the fact Steve Orlando managed to reference this, though the trade fails an editorial error. Yeah, they referenced here that apparently Midnighter shattered his skull, and of course they repaired. Yeah, in case you're wondering, the reason why Steve Orlando referenced that, because he wrote the Midnighter ongoing series. Yes, probably one of the best original titles they released for DCU, who was actually not like, let's say, continuation of the other ones. That was a really damn good title, despite the fact the main character was a gay character. Prometheus was going to be very interesting. And this is the first appearance since that book. It's great the fact that featured him. And he's only featured in about 3 issues in this whole thing. The last issue just basically focused on this new character Aztec. By the way, Aztec is also a character created by Grant Morrison. No joke, he did create Aztec. Though this is a female Aztec, and there's no mention of the original Aztec, who actually died back in the storyline of World War III, which was the finale for Grant Morrison's run on JLA back in, I think it was 2000, I think it was. Yes, he was in the book for a few years. But this is actually really good. This also says some stuff basically leading toward the end of this particular one. Also, I should point out throughout these issues, Batman is not in these issues at all, which is actually kind of weird. Despite the fact this is actually one of the titles he was heavily featured in, he's nowhere in these issues. He's basically taking a break from this team. Yep, so it's all just Vixen, Black Canary, Lobo, pretty much everybody else. Yeah, and of course, Aztec joins toward the end of the series. But this is really good. Like this book, a 9.5 out of 10. It was sad to see the series go this year. Yeah, they ended this series in this run of 29 issues. I'm not kidding about that. 29 issues. I'm like, really? Why would you end this fantastic series? Well, we got a couple good replacements. We have Justice League Odyssey and Justice League Dark. I kind of wish they kept the series around because right now, as far as I know, aside from Black Canary and Batman, no one else is doing anything. As far as I know, Vix is not featuring anything at the end of this basis of the Justice Foundation. Yeah, and I love the fact they're actually headquartered at the Secret Sanctuary, aka Mount Justice, that I was calling Young Justice. That's one thing you gotta love with this book is they actually, their base operations is the original base operations that Justice League had. This is by far, I think, the first time it's actually appeared post Flashpoint, when they started set up as base operations in the Secret Sanctuary, which was established back in the 60s, mind you. And it's only used base operations Justice League about a few times over the years. They used it during the Silver Age. They used it toward the end of the original run, when Jane DeMatteis was on the book during the last year. And then after that, it was used a little bit when it was relaunched, before Justice League International. And after that, it wasn't used again until... It was used by a couple other teams over the years. It was used by Young Justice and the Doom Patrol briefly. Yeah, even the JSA even briefly occupied the Secret Sanctuary. But it's always great when some team basically takes over it and uses it base operations. I personally have a problem with it. And those who are curious, though, where the heck is Sanctuary? It's actually a place called Happy Harbor. Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. Great place. I don't know if this is a real place or not, but it's a great fictional town. And I love the fact that they actually, Steve Allen actually wanted to use this place as a base operations for the Justice League. Yep, though currently the main operations for the Justice League teams is the Hall of Justice. Yep. Otherwise, though, this is really it. I love these set of issues. Steve Allen writes Prometheus such an interesting character. Most people, I kind of agree. I don't know if anybody said this. He probably writes a lot better than James Robinson wrote him. Robinson wrote him like an overpowered guy, and how much he writes all the rest of the heroes be complete buffoons around Prometheus. At least Steve Orlando writes him to be interesting, and he gets his butt handed to him by Vixen. Yeah, Vixen beats the crap out of him. At least it's not like in Cry for Justice where he beats everybody within 2 panels. Yeah, the way he beats people back in that book was stupid. At least here, at least he's interesting. At least he actually fights everybody. And at the end of it, basically, it's implied Killer Frost is cured of being Killer Frost, but yeah, that gets fixed later on. Okay. Otherwise, that's really it for this particular review. Also, I should point out though, when Aztec shows up in here, first hero she meets is the Ray. Later on, she just becomes just part of the Justice League America, which I'm like, that's a cool idea, especially since she's the character created by Grant Morrison. Well, the Aztec name, it was a guy before, now it's a woman. Yeah, they don't explain where the helmet came from that she wears. It's like it just randomly just popped through her window. I don't remember Steve Allen ever explained where the heck the helmet came from. Yeah, it's really weird. Yep. Alright, so that's it for this particular review. Next episode, when I get a chance to do it, it'll be on 2 Star Wars trades. Okay? But until the next review, bye.